Hi, welcome. This is the first video for the homework discussions. We're going to be talking about sections 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. It's a pretty light intro to the course. There was only a few questions here and there. A lot of it was kind of how do I input, answers, things like that. So there were a couple of questions on the homework problems though, so we'll take a look at those. The first one was section 1.1, number 8. And that says, simplify the expression by using the distribution property and combining like terms. And then we're given this expression. 1/3 times x plus 2 plus 1/6 times 2x minus 5. Right. We kind of have a limited board space here. I may, when I get down to the bottom, have to start over and erase some stuff. I'll give you a notice before. This is going to be on YouTube, so you can pause it, write down whatever you need to catch up and re-go. But the first step here would be to distribute. So I would take and distribute this 1/3 through its set of parentheses. 1/3 times x is 1/3 x. 1/3 times 2, right? They're fractions. A lot of your comments were, I hate fractions, I don't like fractions, things like that. You'll have to kind of get used to being able to work with fractions. But if I take 1/3 times 2, it's the same thing as taking 1/3 times 2 over 1. Multiply the tops, I get 2. Multiply the bottoms, I get 3. So that's just 2/3. Same thing happens over here. I have 1 times 2 is 2 over 6, but I can simplify that. 2 over 6 is the same thing as 1/3. Minus, and then 5 over 6, right? So I have that after the distribution and the single simplification that I could have made, that I did make here. Right? And then I'll add like terms together. My 2x terms, they have the same denominator, so that's not too bad. 1/3 plus another third is 2/3. Remember, if you have the same denominator, you just add the numerators together. They're both x terms, so that makes it 2/3 x. And then I'll take my other two like terms and combine those. They don't have common denominator, so off to the side over here, see how far I can go. Can you see that? Yes. All right. So over here, I'm going to take 2/3 minus 5/6. But in order to combine these, I need a common denominator. That denominator will be 6, because I can easily multiply this fraction over here by 2 over 2. So I do that. Multiply the top by 2, multiply the bottom by 2. That turns into 4 over 6 minus 5 over 6, and I can then subtract. 4/6 minus 5/6 is negative 1/6. And that's my final answer. I can't simplify anything. It's not an equation, so I can't solve anything. That's it. That's all I can do. 2/3 x minus 1/6, and I'm done. And that answer is on mine. It's the third one down, but they randomize the answers, so probably not the third one down for you, but there it is for me. Okay. All right, so that's 1.1 number 8. Let's take a look at, that was the only question 1.1. In fact, each section I only had one problem that was asked to do, and then one I don't know what section it was from, so we'll just take a look at it at the end. Let's look at 1.2, number 9. And that says, solve the equation. Nope, it doesn't. I'm on the wrong problem. Still says solve the equation. Write any fraction using the slash symbol. For example, -5/6 would be -5/6. Okay, I have 1/5 x minus 2/3 equals 5/6 minus 4/5 x. Now there's a few things that we would want to do here. As we get into section 1.4, we'll start talking about smarter things to do. But here with what we have, really the only thing we've talked about is the addition principle of equalities and the multiplication principle of equalities. And that's really all we've got. And we can solve this using those. But I'm going to start by getting all of my x terms to the left-hand side and my non-x terms to the right-hand side by using the addition principle. So I'll just take and add 4/5 x. And I can do both the 4/5 x to move it to the left and add 2/3 in the same step to move it to the right. So I'm going to do that. That puts it all into one step instead of two. But you can see that my -4/5 and my +4/5 cancels in the right hand side. My -2/3 and my +2/3 cancels on the left hand side. I will typically do this. I'll do both, move the x's to the left or right, whichever direction, and move the numbers to the other side in one step rather than take two. Right? But if I add these two, I have 1/5 x plus 4/5 x, which is 5/5 x, but 5/5 is 1, and therefore I have 1x, or just x. Right. On the other hand, here I have 5/6 plus 2/3. Yet again, I need to find a common denominator. That common denominator is the 6, because I can easily multiply these guys by 2 in the top and bottom, and that turns this into 5/6 plus 4/6, which is 9/6. Right? I can simplify that because 9/6, 9 and 6 are both divisible by 3. So you should be entering your simplified answer of 3/2. If you plug in 9/6, I think it will mark you wrong, which is probably where some of you may have run into trouble. But you should always simplify an answer, 3/2, that's it. No mixed numbers, right? Mixed numbers went into the toilet after junior high. It's easier to play with fractions as improper fractions than it is to play with numbers as mixed numbers. So typically we're not going to see mixed numbers very often. It's useful to be able to go into mixed numbers because if you see a big number and you say, geez, that's big and ugly, I don't even know where that is, turn it into a mixed number, gives you a better idea. But it's easier to do math with improper fractions, so we're going to leave ours all improper. Right? So that's it. That's our answer for 1 to number 9. All right, 1.3. I had a question on number 3. Okay, which says, solve the equation for the variable.
I had 3 other classrooms to go to before it's 10 o'clock.
3y minus, and in parentheses, 2y minus 3, minus 4y, that's a lot of minus, equals 0. Okay. So it's this very first step that I imagine the mistakes are coming from, right? And that first step is, well, this 2y minus 3 is in parentheses, and I'm subtracting this whole thing, which means I have to take, and if you imagine that there's a little 1 right here, I'll take that minus 1 and distribute it through. That gives me 3y minus 2y. But this minus 1 comes and multiplies a minus 3. Minus times a minus is a positive, so that's a plus 3. And then I have minus 4y equals 0. So it's this right here. If you got this wrong and can't figure it out, go back and look at this. If you have a minus as you've written it here, then that's your issue. Right? That minus has to distribute to both of those. I will combine like terms. I have 3y minus 2y, which is just 1y, and then minus 4 more y is negative 3y. Alright, typically we like to say, alright, move your variable to the left and the other numbers to the right, but since the variable term is negative, I'm going to switch it, I'm going to plug it off to the right by adding 3y. It doesn't really matter what side of the equation your variable is, right? So I'm going to put it off to the right hand side because now it's positive and I don't have to worry about any negatives. Right? If you don't want to do this, it doesn't matter. Subtract your 3 over there, you get negative. You divide them, you're still going to get a positive. But here I'll divide each side by 3 to isolate the y, and I get my answer. Y is 1. So that's it for the questions. That's all that was posted in there. Oh, I'm lying. There is one more. Let me get back to it. It is this one. Let me do one last question. I don't know where this is from. I'm not sure if it's in the homework yet. It seems like it isn't because it's, I think, in 1.4. So you know what, actually, I will wait because I think it is from 1.4. So, hope this was helpful. Remember to post questions in the discussion on Canvas. That's where this material is going to come from. And so make sure you either post a question or answer a question or do what you can, even just writing, I got it, thank you. So, all right, have a good one. Where's the button?